Hello, I'm Stefan. In this video we'll take a look at these two column array systems, the EVOLve30M from electro-voice and the EVOX JMIX8 from RCF. Let's go! As you can see, both speakers have roughly the same width. They also have about the same depth, but a significant difference in height. The 30M has a 10-inch subwoofer, while the RCF has a 12-inch subwoofer. And a bigger speaker and bigger size, of course, means it is considerably heavier. There's more than 10 kilograms of difference between these two boxes, just under 16 kilos or 35 pounds for the 30M, and about 29 kilos or 64 pounds for the JMIX8. Also on the JMIX8, the column speaker is actually stored inside the subwoofer, which makes you wonder why they didn't let you put the distance rods in there as well, but of course all of that adds to the weight. I'm a small guy, if you are younger and stronger, you don't mind carrying around 30 kilograms with one hand all over the place. This may not even be a factor for you, but to me that is a big deal. I can comfortably carry the 30M with one hand and my guitar in the other. The RCF to me is a serious boat anchor of a speaker, and I know it's just going to get heavier with every year. So in terms of form factor, I give top marks to the electro-voice 30M. Setup on the 30M couldn't be easier. You just stick the distance rods into the box and the speaker with its convenient handle goes on top and you're good to go. Electrical connections are made automatically. There are no cables to attach. There's nothing to screw in. There are no latches. This is awesome. On the JMIX8, the rods are screwed in and the upper one is secured with this pin before you put on the actual speaker. Then you use the supplied cable to attach the line array to the subwoofer. Now, does that mean the electro-voice wins full marks in this department too? Actually, no. Setting up the 30M is a breeze, but we are really talking about maybe 30 seconds saved in setup time. That is a bonus, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really make a difference. On the RCF, you gain significant flexibility, however. You could just use one column if you were to play, say, for a seated crowd, and you can adjust the height of the column to go way above the heads of everyone, so nobody will be able to block the sound. In addition, you can easily turn the column to point the speaker in a different direction. The column on the 30M is fixed both in height and direction. Changing it is only possible with additional hardware or by physically moving the whole thing. Therefore, I will award more points in the setup department to the JMIX8. Both systems feature a built-in 8-channel mixer. Let's take a look at the electro-voice mixer first. It has 6 combo jacks for XLR and quarter-inch plugs. Channels 1 through 4 can supply phantom power. Channel 4 also features a high Z input to connect an electric guitar or bass with passive pickups. 5 and 6 are a stereo pair and can also be used with RCA line-level connections like a CD player or any home or semi-pro audio gear. Channels 7 and 8 are only available for Bluetooth streaming. That is a bit of a disadvantage for small bands who would probably appreciate it if these were available as 2 additional physical inputs also. The RCF mixer only has 4 combo jacks and only 2 of them can actually supply phantom power. Channel 4 also has a high Z input to connect an electric guitar or bass. 5 and 6 are only for quarter-inch plugs like a keyboard or a looper. 7 and 8 are also a stereo pair, but they can be used for either Bluetooth streaming or as additional line inputs via RCA connectors. Again, in a small band scenario, having these 2 channels as extra physical inputs can really make a difference. In terms of outputs, both systems have connections for recording or submixing, and they can be chained for stereo operation. There are also foot switch connectors that can be configured in various ways, like, for example, turning off the reverb if you want to talk to your audience in between songs. On the 30M, having more combo jacks and twice as many inputs with phantom power is great. But because channels 7 and 8 are also available as physical inputs on the JMIX8, I will give it just a small lead in this category. Both systems come with an app that lets you control all the functions. However, with a bit of menu diving, both of them can be fully operated from the front panel also. This is a big deal for me because I have had a whole bunch of gear become unsupported after a while, and if your gear is dependent on an unsupported app, it turns into a brick faster than you can say firmware update. But while the app works, we might as well use it, so let me show you both the effects and the app at the same time. This is the electro-voice app. It can be operated horizontally or vertically. It has a bit of a basic and utilitarian design. This is the bird's eye view of all channels. To change something, just tap on a channel to view the details and adjust settings with the big slider. The first control is for the compressor. Now, as someone who likes to tweak everything, having a one-button compressor feels a little limiting, but I suppose this is meant for getting results quickly, for most people, most of the time. Next, we have a 3-band EQ with high and low shelving, and now look at this. There's mid. Have you ever seen an EQ band like that? I looked at the manual because I couldn't believe it. They don't even tell you what frequency this is, and frankly, I don't care because I want to set it myself. If you wanted to boost or cut the same midband on all channels, you might as well do it on the master. This is a serious engineering flaw. Electro-voice, what were you thinking? I mean, I could do a whole rant video about this, but let's move on. There are 2 effect sends. One has 22 reverb and delay presets, and the other has 8 modulation presets like chorus and flanger. You cannot tweak these presets in any way except set the amount in the channel strip. Here's a view of the JMIX8 app, which only works in horizontal mode. It's very easy to navigate. Tap on a channel to set levels for mains, effect sends and aux. The EQ is a real EQ with high and low shelving filters plus a sweepable midband. Thank you, RCF. I think I will send a screenshot of this to electro-voice. In the preamp section, there are more pro controls like proper gain adjustment, a high-pass filter to eliminate rumble, and even phase reversal, which is almost overkill for this application. Dynamics also features just a single-button compressor, but they also give you some useful presets. The outputs page lets you set mains and aux levels and their respective EQs. Notice these are 7-band graphic EQs. Normally I would complain that this isn't a whole lot, but after I saw the 30M, which believe it or not has the same silly EQ on the mains, suddenly this feels luxurious. In the effects department, the RCF has a lot more to offer. The reverb has tons of presets and you can even tweak them a little. The multi-effects page gives you separate delay, including tap tempo and modulation effects. And look at that! There's even an amp simulator for the guitar input. Even if you prefer to bring your own pedals and stuff, having an amp simulator is certainly better than not having one. Once you configured everything, you can save the whole mixer setup in a preset. For some reason you cannot name these presets, which is a bit odd. Overall though, the JMIX8 leaves the 30M in the dust with its app and DSP options. I will not play any audio for you because obviously you would be listening to that on your speaker rather than the real thing, so I do not believe in the value of this. I have done an entirely unscientific living room test. I mic'd my grand piano, I did vocals, I played guitar, I plugged my looper in, and I definitely like the sound of both speakers. The 12-inch woofer of the JMIX8 goes down to 40 Hz, while this 10-inch woofer goes down to 51 Hz. A difference of 9 Hz in that register is significant, but at lower levels I was actually surprised how little difference it made. Now if you were to blast DJ music to a party crowd of 100 people, that could be a factor, but if you're a solo artist with a guitar, you probably won't even notice much difference. The 30M gives you plenty of bass for that. In fact, you may find that you have to reduce the bass level on the RCF at times. Setting up Bluetooth on the RCF was a breeze. It connected immediately. However, it did drop the connection several times on me. Now, this may have been because I was trying to control it with the app and stream audio from the same device at the same time. I do think this is a real-life scenario though, and I don't think the manual says you're not supposed to do that. Remember, I was all by myself in the living room. Presumably 50 people around you with Bluetooth-enabled phones in their pocket will only make things worse. On the electro-voice, it was much more difficult to establish the connection for some reason. No matter how long I held that button down, my phone just wouldn't find it. Suddenly it connected, and I cannot tell you what I did differently. But having said that, once it connected, it was very robust. It never dropped the connection for me at all. I think that is the most important thing, so I will give a few more points here to the 30M. Other than the power cable, all you get with the JMIX8 is a very cheap bag with no padding for the distance rods. If you stick them in there, they will rub against each other, and I imagine they will look pretty scratched after a while. The 30M in comparison comes with a much nicer padded bag, which also holds the column speaker. All parts are nicely kept separate. There's also space for the power cable, and you can even carry this thing on your back, which is great. Neither system comes with a cover for the subwoofer though. You can buy original covers, which are crazy expensive, but fortunately there are less expensive third-party options, so you might want to look into that. Still, a few more points for electro-voice in this somewhat less important category. First and foremost, you need to define how you plan to use the system. In my case, I want something light and portable. If I play live, it's usually just me and my acoustic guitar and a mic, sometimes a duo with 2 mics and guitars, maybe a looper. For this scenario, I will give 2 thumbs up for the electro-voice. If you're thinking more in terms of a smaller band and you need to hook up maybe up to 4 people, possibly including a bass guitar and synthesizers, I think the RCF might be more for you. But again, it depends if you're planning more for a concert type situation or if you're playing music in the background for like a noisy crowd. We haven't even talked about the price yet. The RCF is cheaper here in Germany, but more expensive in the States, so you might want to check the prices with your local supplier. If you can live with a heavier weight, there's very little not to like about the JMIX8. More physical inputs, more effects, an amp simulator, far better EQ, and a more flexible column setup. The electro-voice though offers more combo jack inputs, more channels with phantom power, more channels with compression, but that ridiculous EQ and more basic effects. It is, however, super compact, and I don't think it gets any lighter than this. Both systems certainly do the job very well, and any complaints I made in this video really is next level nitpicking. It's not entirely out of line to take a step back and marvel at how far this technology actually has come. Thanks for watching.